Hello everyone, hope you all are doing well. Children, in the previous class, we learned a poem from our English textbook First Flight. I hope you all would have understood and read the poem. Today, we are going to take a new lesson from our First Flight textbook. The title of the lesson is The 100 Dresses One. It was written by El Besor Esther. So, before we start our lesson, I have to discuss 2 points from the lesson because it is very important. That's why we are going to discuss that points. In the title chapter of the 100 Dresses 1, they have given 2 points under the section before you read. I'm going to read that points. Make sure that you have your textbook with you, and when I read, you should follow the lines. How do we judge the people around us? By their money, wealth, and possessions? Or is there something of more enduring value to look for in a person? At first, the author put forward a few questions. The first one is, how do we judge the people around us? He asks, how you judge the people around us? How you judge the people around us? By their money, wealth, and possessions. So, when we judge a person, what are the things we should consider? What are the things we should consider when we judge a person? Is it their money, or their wealth, or their possessions? Or is there something of more enduring value to look for in a person? It is not money, it is not wealth, and it is not the possessions we should consider. We should consider something of more enduring value. What does the word enduring here means? It's immortal. So, enduring value to look for in a person. We have to consider the values of a person, the internal values of a person. And this story is a sensitive account of how a poor young girl is judged by her classmates. So we are moving to the central theme of the story. So this story is a sensitive account. What does the word sensitive here mean? Sensitive means heart touching. Sensitive account of how a poor young girl is judged by her classmates. Question. Wanda Petronsky is a young Polish girl who goes to school with other children in an American town. These other children see Wanda as different in many ways. So, the name of the central character, or the name of the young girl, is Wanda Petronsky, who is a Polish girl. These other children see Wanda as different in many ways. So, when she came to the school, the other children saw her as a different person. So, can you guess how they treat her? See how Wanda Petronsky was treated by her classmates or by her friends. I'm going to read the chapter. We start from the first paragraph on page number 64. Today, Monday, Wanda Petronsky was not in her seat, but nobody Not even Peggy and Madeline, the girls who started all the fun, noticed her absence. Usually Wanda sat in the seat next to the last seat in the last row in room 30. So today, today is Monday. So Wanda Petronsky was not in her seat. She was not in her seat. But nobody, not even Peggy and Madeline, the girls who started all the fun, noticed her absence. So we have got two characters, two main characters besides Wanda Petronsky. The first one is Peggy and the second one is Madeline. So the girls who started all the fun noticed her absence. Nobody noticed Wanda Petronsky's absence. Even Peggy and Madeline, the girls who started all the fun. Usually Wanda sat in the seat next to the last seat in the last row in room 13. She sat in the corner of the room where the rough boys who did not make good marks sat. The corner of the room where there was most scuffling of feet, most roars of laughter when anything funny was said, and most mud and dirt on the floor. What does the word scuffling of feet means? They have given there the meaning of that word, scuffling of feet. We have got a new word today. So it means noisy dragging movements of the feet on the ground. Noisy dragging movements of the feet on the ground. So that was scuffling. So actually she sits with a noisy pack. The children, those who make noise in the class. Next paragraph. Wanda did not sit there because she was rough and noisy. So when I say that Wanda sits with a bad company, so you do not think that she was also a bad girl. Wanda did not sit there because she was rough and noisy one. On the contrary, what does the word contrary mean here? Contrary means opposite. So on the contrary, she was very quiet and rarely said anything at all. She always keeps her mouth shut. So she was very quiet and rarely said anything at all. She was very calm and quiet. And nobody had ever heard her laugh out loud. Sometimes she twisted her mouth in a crooked sort of smile, but that was all. And nobody had ever heard her laugh out loud. Sometimes she twisted her mouth in a crooked sort of smile. What does the word crooked here means? Not that word crooked. It's crooked means bent or twisted, out of shape or out of place. Bent or twisted, out of shape or out of place. That is crooked means. So mouth into a crooked sort of smile, but that was all. She was very calm and quiet, even though she sits with a noisy pack. She always keeps her mouth shut, and she was very calm and quiet. Nobody knew exactly why Wanda sat in that seat, unless it was because she came all the way from Boggins Heights and her feet were usually caked with dry mud. Nobody knew. No one can explain, no one can say exactly why Wanda sat in that seat, unless it was because she came all the way from Boggins Heights and her feet were usually caked with dry mud. She come to the school from Boggins Heights where she lives. So when she come to the class, her feet were usually caked or covered with the mud. But no one really thought much about Wanda Petronsky once she sat in the corner of the room. The time when they thought about Vanda was outside of school hours. So after the class only they will start thinking about Vanda Petros. After the class hours or after the school hours, noon time when they were coming back to school, or in the morning early before school began, when groups of 2 or 3 or even more would be talking and laughing on their way to the schoolyard. So these are the times they will only think about Vanda Petronsky. The first one is at noon time when they were coming back to school, or in the morning early before school began, when groups of 2 or 3 or even more would be talking and laughing on their way to the schoolyard. So these are the situations they will only think about Vanda Petronsky. Then sometimes they waited for Vanda to have fun with her, to ridicule her. The next day, Tuesday, Vanda was not in school and nobody noticed her absence again. So Monday passed and the next day was Tuesday, and Tuesday she didn't come to the school. So Vanda was not in school either, and nobody noticed her absence again. So Monday and Tuesday she was absent, but nobody noticed her absence. But on Wednesday, Peggy and Maddie, who sat down front with the other children who got good marks and who didn't track in a whole lot of mud, did notice that Vanda wasn't there. But on Wednesday, on the third day, Peggy and Maddie have noticed her absence, means Vanda Petronsky's absence. Peggy was the most popular girl in school. She was pretty, she had many pretty clothes, and her hair was curly. Maddie was her closest friend. Here, our author gives a short description. Our author gives a short description about the girl Peggy. Peggy was the most popular girl in school. Peggy was the most popular girl in school. She was pretty, she was very beautiful, and she had many pretty clothes and her hair was curly. Maddie was her closest friend. Maddie and Peggy, they were very intimate. Maddie was Peggy's closest friend. The reason Peggy and Maddie noticed Vanda's absence was because Vanda had made them late to school. So, why they noticed Vanda Petronsky's absence? Because Vanda made them late to school. Actually, they waited Vanda Petronsky for having fun with her, to have fun with her. So that's why they noticed the absence of that girl. They had waited and waited for Vanda to have some fun with her, and she just hadn't come. They often waited for Vanda Petronsky for having fun with her. So that is the reason they waited for that girl. So children, today we wind up this session. Hope you all would have understood what we have discussed here today. Thank you children. Have a great day. Thank you.